All right, so I'm back with an update on the Courtney Tailor and Christian Toby case. Just when I thought this case could not get any worse, or, I thought maybe it would, not develop as quickly as it has, there was an interview conducted yesterday, um, and there is a woman named Sara Sims who claims to know Courtney Tailor and has done different, I guess, shows or projects with Courtney Tailor, and she is offering some alleged information about Courtney Tailor and Christian Toby's relationship. Some of the things that she says on this interview, I'm going to warn you because I'm going to probably just play the whole interview for you guys just so you can get the full interview. And I will attach a link so you can get a better view of the interview. But some of the things she says in this interview is quite cringeworthy. It's just, it got under my skin a little bit when she was speaking. But essentially, this woman, Sara Sims, who says she knows Courtney Tailor and knows Christian Toby, she alleges that they had, of course, the tumultuous relationship, but when they moved to Miami, they broke up last month. So she claims that Christian Toby and Courtney Tailor broke up last month, that Christian Toby did not have a place to reside. He was kind of residing in the lobby area of the high tower area where they were previously living, that he had nowhere to live. And she claims that the reason why they broke up was because he was stealing money out of her account, basically taking her finances. This is what this woman claims. And it appears that, just from what I'm inferring from her, is that she believes that could be a justified reason, I believe, because she's saying, well, you don't really know what's going on. We don't really know what's going on. So, he was stealing money from Courtney. And then she claims that there was abuse on the part of Christian Toby, but she has no personal knowledge of this. She is just basically quoting the news reports but what we've already talked about in my prior video, that there was a witness that lived in the area, claims to have saw Christian Toby hit Courtney, and this time her statement is that with a closed fist. From my recollection of watching the interview with the gentleman, I also posted a link in my prior video of his interview. I posted a lot of links, but there is one of those links has the guy speaking on there, and he says he wasn't sure if it was open or closed. So, but she's providing this different statement that it was closed. Whoever witness saw it was closed, but she doesn't give us any information as to whether she ever saw him physically batter her in any way. She's just speaking from a hearsay news report. So that was the one thing she said in here. Another thing that she said in this interview was that clearly Courtney has a substance abuse issue. One of the viewers that was watching the live last time did hint that when we watched that live of Courtney, she looked like she could have been on drugs. Well, this woman confirms that Courtney does have a substance abuse issue, and she claims that she thinks that Christian was abusive because he laughed at her when she would get, really intoxicated with these drugs she was using, and didn't do anything to get her rehab. And then she says another thing in this, and I'm going to play the interview for you guys, but I just wanted to give you a summary of it because I just want to give my take on it. Then she says that she's very irritated with, media because they keep broadcasting white versus black crime, but there's more black on black crime, and that's her issue with the media. And she's like, well, there's more black on black crime than anything, and I am a criminal justice major. And I had a problem with that because the media reports on both types of crime. Let me just get this response out before I even go into the other stuff. But the media reports on both sides of crime. I just actually did a video that you can go on my page where the media has been heavily reporting on a black on black gang shootout that happened in Sacramento, California, where 6 individuals were murdered. The majority were African American, and 12 people were injured. And they have been heavily reporting on this, and it's been publicized even on Fox News and other news stations. I've also seen a lot of domestic violence cases with black on black relationships. So the media does report on black crime just as much as they do on black on white crime. What she should have been asking, the proper question that she should have actually been asking is, why do people respond when there is a black and white crime? Why are people more in an uproar when there's a black and white crime versus black on black crime. And here's why. The reason is because of the unequal application of the law as it relates to black on black crime versus black on white crime. When there has been a repeated instances that we can point to in our current events where there has been a black suspect or a white suspect that has possibly could have been involved in the death of a black woman, and in this case a black man, and there has been nothing done about it. There's two Caucasian men that just walked when two women were found dead at the residence with these two men, and they had drugs in their systems when prior history showed that these women never took drugs, any of these forms of drugs. There was no record at all of them ever having a drug issue. Yet these white men have walked. There's been a lot of these cases where white people who kill black people walk or they don't get any form of punishment. That is why a lot of people are in an uproar. So that shows her lack of knowledge of what's really going on in society. And she didn't even pinpoint the key issue that we're seeing in society is an unequal application of a law, which is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause, because it's basically they're punishing black on black right on. You know, they're very heavy. If there's a black person that commits a crime, they get the book thrown at them and they get the harshest sentence. But when it comes to a Caucasian person, they get, really nothing. And then another thing, she claims, well, we don't know what happened. This was self-defense, allegedly, right? And she also defends Courtney's presence at a hotel bar. Remember, we talked about it in my last video where she was found at a hotel bar. I guess this is where she lives. It's a bar where she lives at. That's what this Miss Sims has stated, that it was a bar where she lived at. Not a good look that she was there, but she is defending her and saying that basically she was there, because she lived there. But if you basically in this case, if we have a black person in another case that recently he claimed self-defense. He said that there was a Caucasian guy in a car. They had the Caucasian guy's wife hit him, right? Hit him while the guy was riding his bike, hit the guy's bike. And then he said something to the black guy. The black guy, he was wrong. He did punch the white guy and then he walked off. But then the white guy gets out the car and then aggressively goes towards the black guy. The black guy gets afraid. He shoots the guy. He claims self-defense. When the guy dies, they find a knife in his pocket. This guy gets arrested. I understand the facts is that he did fled the scene. His argument is that he is afraid that he's a black guy and he was afraid that he wasn't going to be treated equally. I get it. But his allegation is self-defense. That this guy was the aggressor. There's video surveillance of the guy pursuing him, so we can see clearly that he was being pursued by the white guy. However, with that being said, he was immediately arrested and he had to litigate his case to try to prove his defense. By contrast, in this case, where we have the same allegation that she is claiming self-defense, she gets to roam freely and not have to vindicate herself. Basically, the prosecutor is working to try to prove that they have a case against her. So why not apply the law equally? If there's two different parties, regardless of the color that they are, why can't the judicial system give them the same treatment? If this white lady can be free and she's claiming self-defense and they're still trying to figure out and investigate the case, why can't this black chick be free? So that is the issue at hand. Sorry guys, my battery was dying. So that is the issue at hand that we are dealing with. Not that the media doesn't publicize both black and white crime. It is the reaction that should be questioned. And the reason why is because I said it's the unequal application of the law as it relates to, the African-American person and the Caucasian person. And I'm sorry to talk in such simple terms when I say black person, white person. I just wanted to try to make it as simple as I can to explain, the issue that I had with her interview, which I'm going to play, guys, but it just kind of made me frustrated with some of the things that she said. And she starts out at the very beginning saying, I'm a criminal justice major. I'm not biased in this situation. But then when she gives her statement, she's completely biased and completely on Courtney's side the entire time and just disregards the fact that somebody was murdered. Somebody was killed. She just completely disregards that and just says, he was abusive because he didn't get her rehab. Well, Courtney Tailor is a grown woman. She makes millions of dollars. She makes six figures, if not more than that. And she has stated that on her previous interview that we played in my prior video. with, you know, the Miami group that she interviewed with, that she makes at most, if not more than, six figures. She makes more than that. But so she clearly is an adult. She's an adult woman. She can make a decision to get into rehab. I mean, even if he were to try to pressure her to get rehab, it still would have been her choice. She could easily say, you know, no, I don't want to get rehab. Another thing too, if this woman is her friend, and another thing that she said in here, she kind of talked in double terms. When you hear the interview, first she says she thinks that Courtney, you know, is justified. There's probably some type of self-defense claim. That was her first argument. But then she goes and says, well, clearly Courtney had a substance abuse issue, and he was engaging in abuse by laughing at her when she was intoxicated, and he should have got her some help, because this could have prevented something like this. So then what are you saying, ma'am? Are you saying that the fact that she engages in substance abuse, that she can possibly be violent when she engages in substance abuse, and she can possibly be toxic when she engages in substance abuse? She has admitted that she is toxic in a prior interview that I played for you guys, that she is a toxic person in relationships. So when you take someone who is already toxic and then you add drugs to that person, it makes them further toxic. So the fact that she's saying that it could be foreshadowed that Courtney can possibly engage in something like this because she had a substance abuse issue, then she's basically has discounted her previous argument that she believes that Courtney was justified in the self-defense. So that's what I'm saying. She speaks in double terms. First, she says she thinks it's possible justified because there was a toxicity in the relationship. Then she later on says that Courtney has substance abuse issues, and that this, you know, he didn't get her help. So if he had got her help, this could have prevented this whole situation. So I'm like, what are you saying here, woman? Be consistent in your arguments. Another thing she does clarify is that, remember we talked about the OnlyFans photograph that basically after Courtney stabbed poor Christiantoby on, what date was that? On April 3rd. Then April 4th, she posted two different thirst trap photos with some language on there after, you know, he died, and she tragically died, okay? And so we thought that was very disturbing. She clarifies that Courtney has an assistant, you know, her being famous and having, you know, as high, you know, status that she has an assistant that actually posts pictures for her, and that the assistant was not aware that Courtney was, you know, under suspicion for a murder. I don't know how she could not be aware of that. I don't know why Courtney would even call her assistant and say, hey, you know, she knows her assistant's going to be posting things. She should have called her immediately and said, hey, I am in a very deep situation right now. My boyfriend, I had to stab my boyfriend. You know, she could have called her assistant, but allegedly she says her assistant went and posted those photos, and then after the fact took them down when she figured out, you know, everything that was going on with the case. So that's what she clarified about the thirst trap photos that we were talking about in my prior video. We at least have that clarification. She also states that Courtney Tailor's Twitter was taken down, and she had a big issue with that. She claims, oh, it's not, you know, we don't know what happened. I don't know why they're punishing her and all that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like trying not to pull my hair out. But like, this woman, we know clearly she killed someone. She has his blood all over her. Yes, they should take her Twitter down. Why? And the thing I had frustration with her is because the very beginning of her interview, she clearly states she is not going to be biased. And then throughout the entire interview, she's biased, guys. So I'm sorry. Another thing I want to clarify, and I don't know whether it justifies it or not, but I like to give both sides of everything, you guys. I don't like to report, you know, just on one side. But those Twitter posts from Christiantoby that did demean African-American women and demeaned the Black issue causes were all done 2012. That was 10 years ago when he was in high school, and he was, I think, 17 years old. So, I mean, there's a time frame there. And he did have some African-American friends that did report from Texas that, you know, he was a kind guy. So he did have African-American friends. I don't know whether it makes it right or not. It still was powerful words, and what you put out in the universe can have an impact on people, and a lot of people are hurt by his comments. So those were some of the responses that people were saying in my comments, that, you know, it was 10 years ago. I guess these are people that know him, but, you know, I understand that side of it and I respect that side of it. But people are human, you know, and people, once you put stuff out there like that and you don't correct it in the long run, which I don't see any posts where he corrects it, it's empowering Black women in any way, people are going to take that personally. They just, that is the way it is. It's natural human nature. I'm not personally saying it's correct, because my stance is I don't think anyone deserves to die, and I think justice is justice. Being an attorney, I think doesn't matter what a person is or who they are. If they are, you know, murdered or whatever, harmed in any way, they should be entitled to their justice. That's my stance. But I'm just speaking from a social perspective that, you know, we have to still be sensitive to people who are human and may be hurt by some of the comments that he said. It's just a natural thing. I understand it's been 10 years ago. I did reference that in my video that it was 2012, but I just want to, you know, clarify from those people who are concerned, not really sensitive to the case. They have human feelings, and that, you know, we have to just respect their feelings just as we have to respect others. But my opinion is no one deserves to die. You know, it's very sad. This man deserved to live regardless of his opinions. I don't agree with his opinions. I think there's a lot of beautiful Black women out there who are empowered and educated. And, you know, I don't think we should, you know, down talk any ethnicity, because we can't generalize one ethnic group. Everybody has differences in no matter what, you know, their ethnicity is. We have to take people as they are and see their character for who they are. But I don't feel that, you know, Christian Toby should have been brutally murdered, and I feel justice should be done for him. You know, it's very sad. But let's go ahead and watch this interview. I've talked too much. Let you guys watch it, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this cringeworthy interview. I felt was cringeworthy.
I personally know Courtney. I've worked with her in the past.
Ew.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a lot of spicy content with her. I went on a few trips with her, so I do know her personally. I've met her boyfriend, Christian. And I want to say I don't take sides. I believe in the justice system. I have my criminal justice degree. I think that everybody just is talking for clout.
Absolutely.
And that's what happens in the media.
Absolutely. Fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is out there, it just keeps saying that Courtney stabbed her boyfriend and is out. And everyone was like, why is she out? Like, what is going on? And people don't understand, if that name's not out there, there's a reason why, like, her name was not out there on the news channels.
Right.
The only reason why her name was out there is because she has huge following and everybody else was saying. But I do have intel, because it's really spicy, actually.
Okay.
I'm kind of scared and nervous.
Right.
I don't know. But, so I guess what most people don't know is they actually broke up last month. So it's not even that they were even together anymore, actually.
Oh.
Yes. So he was actually stealing money from her, and, like, back and forth, like, for a full, like, 2 or 3 months, just stealing money from her account. And she was really upset about that, obviously.
Yeah.
And I have no idea if that was the reason the domestic violence happened or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously somebody doesn't stab somebody for no reason. We have no idea what happens behind closed doors. And it's kind of scary that our world is so judgmental, and they want to bring out the worst in people before we even know the full story. But I do know for a fact he was stealing money from her. They broke up already, and the cops have been called 5 to 7 times prior to this instant.
I did read that, yeah.
And I believe that there is a witness that said that they saw him with closed hands punching her. So, I mean, I have no idea. Obviously, abuse is not cool.
Right.
But we don't know the full story. So it's like, everyone needs to chill. And I see what makes me mad is being so close to this story, just because I do know her, as I see a lot of influencers that used to work with her and post with her and just kind of be obsessed with her because of her following, and now are trashing her name. And they're like,
yeah,
fuck her, she should be in jail, she's the worst person ever, her name is Courtney, like literally just bashing her. Just when 2 months ago you were collabing with her so you can get some clout. It's like, I hate fake people. So that's what's really crazy. What do you think so far, just because of the headlines? Like, the headlines make it so drastic where it's white girl kills black guy. Like, why did the news lines do that? What do you think?
That's automatically what they do. Not even for this story, for every story. If there is, you know, I don't even know what to call it. If there are two different races involved, that's what they do.
Yeah, and it's really just a person killed a person.
Right, exactly. Like, why are races even being, or why is race even being mentioned?
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't, I never understood that.
I think it's for the title of the news so that people are engaged in and everything, because again, they're not telling much of the story at all.
No.
So it's like they're putting their headline on it and giving you the same 5 pieces of information again over and over, whether it's little pieces to make it seem real, make it seem fake, or again, it's just the juicy topics. Oh, girl is covered in blood, stabs boyfriend. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy. And honestly, I just do want to say that I've met her a few times and I have seen them in altercations already, and I do believe she does have substance abuse problems, and I've seen it firsthand. But her boyfriend sat there willingly, like, always watched it and, like, kind of laughed about it. So I feel like this type of abuse is always just overlooked and like, oh, haha, she's just crazy. Like, maybe you should get this person some help before something crazy does happen, you know? So that's a big problem nowadays, I believe, that needs to be worked on. And the fact that there's another video out last night that she was at that bar you said that you saw.
I did see that, yeah.
And people are giving her, like, shit for sitting at the bar drinking. And it wasn't that she was just sitting at a bar. That's where she lives. So she lives, like, in one of those high-rises.
Right.
So there's a bar at the bottom. And, I mean, she is a normal person. I do believe she should be chilling out a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the
Very
bar.
traumatic. I don't know if I would be at the bar, but...
Until we truly find out all the details and stuff like that.
Yeah. But if you listen closely in that video, so she's being attacked at the bar. She's going to the elevator. She does yell, "You have no idea what the full story is. He tried to kill me." She yells that.
Oh.
So no one knows. No
Yeah.
one even knows. Like, what if he did try to kill her in, like, some traumatic event? And everybody says there's bruises all over her. So what's going on, you know?
Yeah, something definitely happened. I mean, I don't know any of them, but something definitely happened. You wouldn't just stab somebody for no reason.
And Julia Fox even got into
She
it.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw what she said, yeah.
What did she say? She's like, it sounds like domestic violence to me or something like that.
Self-defense.
Self-defense to me. Yeah.
Well, that's what some of the news articles said too. They were like, her friends and everything said that for the past couple of months or however long that they were always like getting into altercations and stuff like that.
Yeah. And supposedly she kicked him out. And he's been living, like, in, like, the common areas of her, like, place.
Of the building?
Of the building.
Like sleeping on
What
the
do you
couch?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, like, he had nowhere to live, and that's why he was stealing money from her left and right. He had nowhere to go, I guess.
The whole thing just sounds toxic.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like,
for
that's
sure.
bad. Yeah.
But I just think that the media is just spinning it out of control, especially not knowing the facts, what was happening beforehand.
Well, they're making so much money off of it. Probably she has 2 million followers on OnlyFans or something. It was.
Yeah.
So no shit, they're gonna make so much money.
Oh,
They're gonna
yeah.
twist anything, say anything they want, and just put her on the spotlight.
Yeah.
I think another thing too is I saw that she was posting on her OnlyFans after this whole thing happened.
Well, it's
So people are coming at her for that too.
well, no, she was actually so that was the night she was arrested,
Okay.
but then she was in whatever, what is it called, in a mental,
Oh, Baker acted her.
yes,
or
Baker acted her for
Oh, yeah,
mental
I did see that,
illness.
yeah. Mhm.
So she was not able to post. What some people don't know is some OnlyFans girls have assistants.
Right.
So
I
she
did
had
know
an
that.
assistant, and obviously they don't know the rule, like what's going on in real life right away.
Right.
So obviously they posted for her the next day just to post on
Like on
her.
a schedule, like
a
a posting
schedule.
schedule, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. That does make
Most
sense.
famous people, Kim Kardashian is not posting on
No,
her
right,
social
ever.
media.
Absolutely. 3 years later, and they're just launching something.
Yeah. So somebody else posted for her on her OnlyFans, realized what was going on, and right now there's no activity on her OnlyFans. Her Twitter was just suspended 2 days ago. Twitter suspended it.
Oh.
which is crazy.
Why?
They don't even know the full story, and they suspended her account
Right away.
Yeah, media violations. Yeah.
But what's the media violation when they're all violating her
Yeah.
and the story?
Mm-hmm. It's nuts. But I do know she's out, obviously, right now. I'm really hoping for the best for both his family and hers. This is a crazy incident. It's very
sad, yeah.
It's very sad. It's very viral right now. And people need to learn to just step back and let the law do their thing.
Right.
We are all
the
not
full story before.
Yeah, we are not criminal investigators.
No, I know.
People need to chill. And I just hope for the best for everything because this was such a wild and scandalous story.
Yeah. Tragic.
And I just hope that the media and everybody in general really need to get away from this like racial stigma because the only reason why it keeps getting brought up is because they keep bringing it up. Like, I really don't feel like most of the problems we have in life wouldn't even be a problem if it wasn't such a big like fake news article type of thing, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, also too, it's like, you know how many stabbings there is every single day? You go down to Allentown and every day somebody's getting stabbed.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? So it's like, why is this one stabbing being blown up?
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Wow.
And I do have my criminal justice degree, so I'm not even just saying this, but there's way more black on black crime than there is on white versus black crime. It's statistics.
Yeah.
So if we want to make some stories, then let's say this black guy stabbed another black guy, you know? But there is no stories like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever read a story
No,
like that.
And that doesn't bring the, like I said, controversial stuff. Like, that's what brings all the hype and
Yeah.
the media, and that's what they feed on, you know?
Exactly.
I
Anything
know,
else we just
right?
looked over.
Brinley?
Yeah,
Like, it's just another story.
Another
like, this would
day.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without like talking about this more, what did you think? Did you think like, oh, this crazy girl's
Honestly, I was like, there has to be more to the story. I think even like David and I talked about it, and I'm like, we don't know what happened, like just what we're reading. But then when I saw the video at the bar, I was like, oh, not a good look.
Right,
Not
yeah.
a good look.
I definitely agree. And before
That
knowing...
just fuels to the fire,
Right.
honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, like, before knowing, like, the inside information and stuff like that, same exact thing, I was like, why is she out at the bar? You know, because, again, all we're seeing is these fake stories and headlines, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to believe everything I'm reading until facts come out, but, like, what the media is trying to get you to believe, why the hell is she out at the bar?
I mean, regardless of what happened, whether it was self-defense or not self-defense, like, I feel like I would be too traumatized to even, like, get up,
Yeah.
like, stand on my 2 feet and walk, let alone
Yeah.
go to a bar.
Okay, guys. So I just had to play that. Normally I would just do little snippets, but that one, I just had to play the whole thing.
Filing your tax return is different on Free Tax USA.
I just had to play the whole thing, you guys, because I needed you guys to hear the whole thing, the context. It was just, I don't know, some of the comments in there was just cringeworthy for me. Because she starts off, oh, I'm not biased. And then the whole time she's defending this woman's entire conduct. She couldn't even give the interviewer that one affirmation that Courtney Tailor being seen at a bar was just flat out wrong. It just didn't look good. She couldn't even give her that. And that was an easy one to admit. Yeah, she shouldn't have been there. So clearly this woman is biased. She claims to know Courtney. She claims to blame Christian Toby for Courtney's drug abuse issues when, Courtney's a grown woman. She can make her own decisions. And no matter how much family members and friends try to get someone to go to rehab, it really ultimately is that person's choice to want to change, because you can try and try and try. And if they don't want to make up in their mind that they want to be free from whatever substances they're taking, it's just not going to work. And if she was her friend, how come she didn't step in and help her? Another thing, she didn't really give us much information. I felt she was holding something back, you guys. I felt this. I don't know if you need to watch the interview again. She claims, the woman, Courtney, takes a lot of substance abuses, and this is the type of she's seen her in situations where they've had altercations, and she's seen her take substances and drugs, and act, in a toxic way when they have these, hostility. But then she says, well, this is something that could have possibly happened if she didn't get rehab. Well, then there's something she's not telling us. I feel like, well, she didn't give us any specifics on how Courtney behaves when she is under the influence of these drugs. She has seen her take these drugs. She says that they are volatile in these incidents when she's under the influence of these drugs, but then she doesn't give us the rest of the information. She doesn't tell us details of how Courtney acts when she's under the influence, when she has already seen these instances. So in my opinion, I feel like she is holding back very pertinent information about Courtney's conduct when she's under the influence of these drugs, and specifically because she knows it will go towards showing that Courtney can be toxic in relationships, as Courtney has admitted in her prior interview just 2 weeks before she brutally stabbed this man. Now, I don't know what his financial status was at the time. I don't know if he really was homeless at the time. He did move all the way from Texas with her to Miami, so if she kicked him out and they did break up last month, clearly he wouldn't have anywhere else to go. That's understandable. He would have nowhere else to go. I know that he also moved to Miami to pursue cryptocurrency, to get involved in cryptocurrency. That was his aspiration. So I'm not sure exactly what it was he doing for employment when he got there. But based on this article that I see here, they said Christian Toby Abu Samli was a handsome Texan who came to Miami to work in cryptocurrency. So that was what he was going. I don't know how successful or not he was. Cryptocurrency can be iffy. Sometimes you can be successful in it, sometimes you're not. It's not like a set in stone way of having success, which, also is contradictory. If Courtney is claiming that Christian was stealing money from her, and that's why they broke up, that, there was a lot of toxicity, he was stealing her money and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense to me because she just had an interview 2 weeks ago when she said she only dates Black rich men. So did she go against her preference and date someone who isn't rich, or is she not telling the truth? That's a question that we need to ask. Another clarification that I have for Christian is that he is actually Nigerian American. He was born in America. He's a first generation Nigerian. He wasn't actually born in Nigeria. That could create some context into what his values were. Did he more so assimilate to the American customs, or did his parents raise him to embrace the Nigerian culture? That is a question that we need to ask, because what I know of is that a lot of Africans do not like African Americans. That is something well known. I mean, I dated a Ghanaian man, and his parents outright, once they knew I was Black American, I got a lot of flack. I mean, they were horrible to me. They would speak and they would say all these things about me, say, "Oh, the Black American." They just could not stand that he was dating me, simply because I was American. And I had to prove myself. I had to prove that, I'm in school, I'm studying for law, I'm doing all these things. And after like 3 years of dating him, she finally accepted me. But I know that is historically a thing in the African culture, that they don't really associate with Black Americans. They don't like Black Americans because they think, oh, you guys have all this privilege here in America and you're not doing anything with yourself. You're getting involved in a lot of, some people, poverty and not going to school, not getting businesses, not doing anything when they have all these advantages here in America. So they kind of despise African Americans for that. Again, that's an issue with generalization. So I don't know if he was raised in that type of environment and has been, told that as a kid that, Black American is bad. And so then when he became a little older as a teenager, did he take on that view and then now say, I despise Black American women? I don't know where his thought process came with the whole bashing the Black Americans, but those tweets that we did see was in 2012. I couldn't find any recent ones. You guys can let me know if you've seen anything recent after 2012 where he bashes Black women. But he clearly was not dating any Black women. So clearly mindset from his actions, it appears he still held that viewpoint from what people are saying. But I don't think in any way this man should have been brutally murdered. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what his views are or how he was raised. He is a human being who deserves to have life. And this is so sad that this man who had so much potential was brutally murdered. And this woman is basically excusing that by claiming, oh, well, he was stealing her money and we don't know, it just felt like she was finding excuses for why she did it. And she didn't really give us an unbiased, perspective. And understandably enough, she's her friend, and so she knows her, but still. And then she, I talked about how she's saying that the media does not report on black crime, which that is not true. Like I said, They do it all the time, and I hear about it all the time. There's actual YouTube channels devoted to black on black crime, and they have actual video of the news reports of actual reporters talking about, you know, this woman being killed by her spouse, and it's both black parties. There's actual YouTube channels, you can look them up, that just report all on the black on black crime, and there's actual, they put actual reports from news reporters reporting on it. So clearly this woman is not looking at all news. She's selecting certain news, and she doesn't have a well versed knowledge of what's going on in the country. Basically, the real issue, like I said, is really how people are responding to the certain news reports, and that's based upon the unequal application of the law, as we can see that is displayed in this case. What should have happened in this case is the officers had probable cause to see that she committed a crime, a possible murder. She had his blood all over her body. There's video surveillance. There's probably witnesses. There were loud screams heard. There were reports from witnesses. Blood was protruding profusely from his body. So there was probable cause to arrest her at that time. And that's what they should have done, because that's what they do to many, many African Americans who are in the same situation as she would have been in. If it was an African American person who had killed a white person, or even a black person, even if it was black on black, either way, those people would have been arrested first because they had probable cause. And what should have happened is she should have been, you know, given the opportunity to present it in trial, her defense of self-defense. So be arrested if she, you know, and they can determine bail. If she does pay for bail, that's understandable. If they don't give her bail, then she stays in custody until she goes to trial, and she needed to be heard in court for that trial. So that's why people have an issue with this case. Let me know what you guys think. Let me see your comments. Matos says, national animal of Nigeria is a rat richest nation in Africa, but they have no communism or socialism for a Nigerian black family, only intra have. Gap between rich and poor in Nigeria illustrate their anti-black mindset and policy. See, okay, so we have someone in the chat confirming that there is that anti-black mindset policies that gap in rich and poor. Okay. Child, this reminds me of Amber Geyer and Jean's story, doesn't it? It does. Yeah, they do love white women. I hang out with a lot of Africans. I love Africans, just to say, because I love the music. I love Afro beats. I just love all the culture. I love the food, all of it. Fufu, everything. But when I'm around them, I know they love white women. They do. I've been around them all the time, and they love white women. That's their preference. And, you know, they rarely, if ever, date black American. And I'm not generalizing, because everybody has their own preferences. Because let me tell you something, guys. Even though there's a lot of African American people right now that are split on whether they want to want to advocate for this case or not, black people will rise up and stand for their people, because there was a shooting that recently happened last week with an African family. He is African. I forgot his name. I think it's Patrick Laloya. I'm gonna actually do a video on him, but he is an African. He speaks Swahili. His beautiful father, you know, he had his translator when he was speaking. But this poor gentleman, and he has a black girlfriend, but this poor gentleman, he was shot in the back of the head by an officer. And the sad thing is, the father says the video shows him laying flat on the ground. He was not resisting at all when he was shot, and it's so sad. But he was such a precious gentleman, African guy, and he had a black woman. So that's why I'm saying I don't generalize. I'm not generalizing and saying that every African person is against African Americans. I'm just saying I've seen it happen in the culture. But with this particular case right now that I'm going to be reporting on soon, I'm just going to wait to get more information. He was shot in the back of the head by an officer. It appears to be unjustified, because the father who saw the video says that he just saw his son laying there on the ground flat, and the cop stands over him and shoots him in the back of the head. And there have been protests that just happened yesterday. Everybody's out there speaking against the situation, and they're advocating for him. So what's the difference between this case and that case? Is because that gentleman, he never had any controversial issues. He didn't speak out against, you know, black individuals. He seems to just be a neutral person. That's just was unjustified. This happened to him. So I think that's the difference between that case, is he doesn't seem to, you know, speak out against, you know, black people or Africans or African Americans or anything like that. He's just seems like a normal person that had the girlfriend says he had maybe a drinking problem. And so when he drove, sometimes he had issues with that. But he was pulled over for like just really minor situation, and it appears that he was laying on the ground from what his father says. But there has been protests. People are out speaking out against the unjust murder that happened to him. But in this case, there's kind of a split divide. If you go to his Instagram, and let me see, I want to see if I can do it, guys. We'll see, Christian, because you guys need to see his Instagram. I just went on there, and there are people in the chat saying some really horrible stuff. Some people are not sensitive to the fact that he was brutally murdered, and other people are. It's just very contentious in the chat. Let me see. Is this his Instagram? But I just want to show you guys to see just how people are split. And the reason why is because of those old chats. And I totally understand. Oh, okay, guys, I'm probably not going to be able to find it. Instagram, let's see. No. I totally understand where everyone's coming from with the, oh, it's not coming up. Yeah, guys, I don't want to waste your time with trying to find it. If I do find it, I'll come up and do another live on it. Or you can find his inside only Instagram post before. No, yeah, I'm having a hard time trying to find it. Instagram. But on there, if you go on his page, and I'll probably see if I can find it and come back live next time. But if you go on his page, you'll see in the comments, check the comments, one of his latest photos. Summer, can't pronounce that guy's name. Let me see. Did I get it right? Okay, it's Christian V. Toby. Instagram. Let's see if we can find it. It's not letting me get it. Yeah, guys, I'll have to come back because I was going to try to find it for you guys. But if you go in there, and you will see on the comments that it's very contentious. I mean, there are people on Courtney's side in there arguing for Courtney, and then there's people on the side of against the old Twitter posts and saying, you know, they don't care about what happened in the situation. It's just, and it's really sad because I'm like, somebody lost their life, you guys. I understand where people has their opinions, and it could be hurtful, the things that were said, but this is a human being who lost his life, who was brutally murdered. I mean, we have to think about if it was our family member or, you know, someone that we cared for that, you know, lost their life, how would we feel? He's not perfect. You know, he did. I don't agree at all with what he said. I don't, you know, as a Black woman, but he is a human being. That's what I'm looking at. The fact that this is a human being that was murdered. I mean, he deserves to be here. He deserves to be here. It looks like he was living his best life in his, oh, here it is. Oh, guys, I think I found it. Sorry, guys, to waste your time because I don't like to waste time, but I just wanted to show you this. Okay, so here's his page, and he's all about Dior. You know, they like to be the lavish life. But let's just look at some of these comments. So this was the very last photo he took, which was September 1st, or he posted, which was September 1st, 2021. So he said, the second time ain't nothing like the first time. You got to make it count. And some people are like, you can really tell how messed up this generation is. A man just got stabbed by his girlfriend. Instead of worrying about that, you guys are saying he deserves it because tweets from 2012. All I know is I don't care when those tweets were. Karen needs to be behind. I agree with this lady right here. Karen needs to be behind bars and justice needs to be served. Don't nobody like reading tweets like that. But we really gonna let a Caucasian woman slide for doing this, though? Shaking my head, a man was murdered. I agree with her. That's my stance. I get it. I don't agree with what he said. I didn't like what he said, you know, but I respect his opinion because he's a human being. And what makes America so beautiful is we all have our own different views and values and stances. And I'm okay with that. I respect people's views because I have my own views. And that's what I love about America. But he's a human being, okay? I don't like his view, but he's a human being and he deserves to be here. He doesn't deserve to die. No one deserves to die. Especially the sad way he did. I mean, I can't even imagine what he was thinking or just the last thoughts he had. But anyways, let's go and look at some other comments because some of this stuff gets pretty bad. They said, you rather have her than a thick melanin queen. You crazy, fam. I need that in my life. I'm a real Arab and you a fake African. Like, people are saying something. I mean, can I get some more posts going, guys? Okay, I don't know if it's going to go down. Okay. Hey, buddy, what you doing today? Wait, that's not. So you comment on his page, but you can't. Wait, why does his brother have a GoFundMe? They look like they live lavishly with all their IG stories all over the world. You wanted a white girl. You got yourself KILD. Oh, well, not our fight. And then another one says, black woman, this isn't our fight. Yes, it's sad that he lost his life, but we have to sit this one out. Let the woman he worshiped fight for his justice. Woo, people. This is just contentious. Y'all get a rich and run. The grammar guy, sorry. Y'all get rich and run a white woman. Now look at you dead. See, like, this is the stuff, people. This is like, wow, I cannot believe the stuff that I'm seeing. So there was one there, and then people were commenting a lot on this photo. I'm gonna go down. But see, look, to be fair, he does have African friends. He's not just, so we gotta report both sides. He has African friends. You can see this photo where he has all of his African friends there. He says, life for my brothers is deep, long as they all on their feet. So he does, have a mixture of friends. He just seems, to prefer to date white women. But here's this one thing. Oh, did it go away? I think somebody deleted it. Where's that Cabo one? Is this it? Okay, 5 a.m. Cabo. People had an issue with this one, y'all. I don't know why. They had an issue because he was with a group of Caucasians, and so they had an issue with that. So here's him with his friends,
Is that bacon? Whole lot of gang shit. Whole lot of gang. Is that bacon? Wrong way. The gang way. Got change on him, bro.
I don't want to put the sound because I don't want to get in trouble for the music. Okay, so anyways, people had an issue with this one. They were claiming, oh, you want to be around only white people. One person said Nigerian colonial mindset killed this brother. He had so much hate for American black women and got killed by Becky. It said, you got trapped, silly rabbit. Loud, it ain't us black women. You clearly hated yourself. It said, bro, this guy says, bruh, you really worship the white folk, huh? Shaking my head. Let me see what else they say. So some of his friends. So that's just some of the comments. It seemed like people they had an issue with this. But I'm like, they didn't look at the other photos where he does have photos with black friends too. And there is an actual news report out there with him with his black friends. But I just want to report on both sides. I don't like to give one-sided, you guys need to know the full story instead of just, oh, let me just report it this one way. So tell me what you guys think about her comments. I don't know. He says, sister, did he did domestic violence? She stand her ground. Yeah, if he did do domestic violence, I don't condone domestic violence. If he did domestic violence, then yes, she should, be able to prove that in court. Yes, if there's proof of that, that's fine. I totally agree with you. I'm not saying that what she did, if under law, I'm saying that the law should apply equally to her as it does everyone else. If it was an African American person who was claiming self-defense, they would have immediately been arrested and they would have to be, in the prison cell for many years until their case gets called basically for the trial. Unless they don't waive their constitutional right to a speedy trial, then they can have it fast. But that's what I'm saying. So if it was African American, they would automatically be in jail. They have to prove that they're innocent and they have to show the self-defense, prove that case in the court of law. But it seems like for Caucasian individuals, it's a different application of the law where they automatically are let go and they're free, and that's about it. So that's why I'm saying a lot of people that have issues with situations like this, because they feel the law is not equally applied to everyone the same. So yeah, if he did engage in domestic violence and she was a fear for her life, by goodness, I understand. And yes, she should walk. I understand. But still, the law needs to be applied fairly. This woman is out drinking. She's out allegedly, the OnlyFans, but I guess she's saying that her assistant did it, but still she could have talked to her assistant before this. She at least had that whole day to alarm her assistant. Don't post anything. I'm just, I'm in some hot water right now, but she didn't do that. So I'm just saying they need to apply the law fairly. That's all I'm saying. Just apply the law fairly. Your feelings not above the Florida law. No, I mean, my feelings about Florida law is it's all flawed. I would never live in Florida because their law does not apply equally to African American people. The law is not favorable for you there if you're African American. I would not recommend going there. The law is just, it's completely, everybody knows that Florida law is just not good law. I mean, the stuff that they do, the stand your ground law is very flawed in my opinion. And I've seen it applied unequally to certain races, especially African American individuals. It has not been applied fairly to them, whereas Caucasians, it has been applied generously to them. So that's why I have a big issue with Florida, and I just would not personally go there. And yeah, if you're for Team Courtney, that's fine. If you know facts about her situation, and if you know that she was, if you were there and you know actual facts that she was abused, please let me know because I will report on that too. I just want to know the full story. But the thing is, we need to know the full story. We don't know what happened that day. All I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. I need you guys to understand what I'm saying. I am against domestic violence. If he did engage in domestic violence and she feared for her life, yes, this is a justified homicide. However, if it is not, then she should be held accountable. And another thing, what I'm saying is the law needs to be applied equally to all individuals, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of gender. So she should have been arrested because they had probable cause at the time to believe that she committed a crime, which was a homicide. They should have arrested her. Yes, they have a statement about self-defense, and she could have proved that at the court. She could have showed her self-defense claim at the trial to prove her case, or she could have bailed out if they had enough to bail her out, if they were going to give her or set a bail. I'm just saying they need to equally apply the law. In this case, I don't feel that they did. I do understand under the Baker's Act that she had a right to go for 72 hours to a medical ward because she claimed that she was going to commit a self-conclusion. So I understand that law applied. Well, the 72 hours are up and she's roaming freely. She's found at a bar with her father and she's just doing whatever she wants, living her best life. And I feel that they should apply the law fairly, just like they would apply it to any other person. They should arrest her because they know that they have probable cause to at least arrest her for this possible homicide. And then if she claims it is self-defense, prove that in court. Show it in court. Yes, under the court of law, we understand that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But when you raise an affirmative defense that is self-defense, you still have to put on the evidence to prove that defense itself. If you say I'm engaged in self-defense, then you need to present your evidence that you actually engaged in self-defense. That is all I'm saying. Apply the law fairly. And that is the issue with this case. The law is not applied fairly. That is all that I am saying. So I'm not team anybody right now. I just wanted the law to be applied fairly and that whatever happens, that the truth come out and that justice be served. But this woman should not be allowed to be roaming freely, living her best life after brutally murdering someone, and we don't really have true proof that this really was a justifiable homicide. All right, guys, I love you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care. And also, please be polite in the comments, okay? This is a open dialogue between you and I about a case. You may not agree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to, because everybody has different opinions. But please do not be rude and accusatory and nasty in the comments, because I will delete your comments, just letting you know. I will delete and I will block because I'm all about positivity, and I'm all about, happiness and good vibes, and I just love to analyze things. It's all for fun, just analyzing current events. All right, love you guys. God bless. Take care.